good, Hoopers? Do your shoulders feel unstable or weak at times? In this video and video series, we're going to go over shoulder girdle and shoulder stability exercises that go from more simpler and easier exercises that progress more to more complex and higher level exercises. For those of you I don't, name is Gabe Ignacio, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Board Certified Orthopedic Clinical Specialist, and co-founder of the Basketball Doctors. Like I mentioned in this video, we're going to go over more specifically on closed chain exercises early on in rehab. And closed chain exercises is pretty much when your limb, or in this case your upper body, is pressing against a stationary or very stable object like the floor or the wall. And what this does is that with closed chain exercises, it gives your shoulder girdle muscles and your joint more proprioception so that you're able to fire the muscles properly. And it's really important early on in these exercises to really feel the muscles that you should be feeling and making sure your form is proper, because to progress to more challenging closed chain exercises and to progress to open chain exercises, you really need to have that stability in your shoulder and those muscles firing correctly to be able to progress. More specifically, like the shoulder girdle stability and rotator cuff muscles. All those muscles fire in sequence to keep your shoulder more stable. The shoulder is inherently a very mobile joint, and it relies a lot on active structures to provide that stability. Active structures meaning your muscles, passive structures meaning like the labrum and ligaments. So we're going to go over a couple exercises that we feel like are important to learn early on. Again, these are just a few. Make sure you do them well, and let's get into it.
Alright, so the first exercise that we're going to go over is scap push-ups. And this is kind of the foundation of some closed chain exercises. So we're going to get into the tall plank position first, which is pretty much like a plank, but all the way up onto your hands, not on your elbows. So you don't want to be sagging from your hips. You don't want to be sitting into your shoulder blades. So first is get that core engaged, tuck your belly button under, squeeze the glutes to get everything nice and tight. And then from there, you don't want to be sagged down. You want to push through as far as you can, like you want your shoulder blades to round out and separate from your spine as much as possible. Really staying engaged there, okay? So you can keep that all nice and tight. And we're gonna go into a scap push-up now. So from there, keep your core tight. You're gonna essentially try and squeeze your shoulder blades as close as you can together, and then trying to push them as far apart as much as you can. So all the way down, all the way up. When you do this exercise, you want to feel like you're pushing through what we call like your boxer muscle or your serratus anterior, which is kind of like deep and right underneath kind of your armpit area, so kind of right here. So as you push, you should feel like you're pushing through that area. Imagine like you're pushing and punching through the ground. So like I said, tall plank position, core tight, squeeze nice and tight, squeeze, push all the way through. Okay, that's one rep. All the way down, all the way through, that's two. As you do this, you don't want to lose your core engagement and start doing that. You don't want to go quick through it. Take your time, feel the rep, go nice and slow, squeeze, core tight, push all the way through. Okay, so that's exercise one with the scap push-up from a tall plank position. From there, we're going to go into exercise number two, which is pretty much just like a progression to it. Let me just retract a little bit. To make that's challenging for you or difficult in that position, what you can do, you just go like on an incline or something, so like an elevated surface like a bench or a table, where you do the same thing except you're more vertical than parallel to the ground. So the more vertical you are, the easier it'll be for you. But the second exercise is shoulder taps from this tall plank position. So same thing here, same thing, core engaged, not sagging down, and you want to maintain that scap push-up position. So you really want to master that scap push-up first before getting here. And then you could go a little bit wider stance with your feet. Keep that engagement, get your hands and shoulders all stacked up, and you're going to go lean all your weight to one side, go into a shoulder tap, shift your weight over, keeping that squeeze, core tight, nice back and forth. It's okay to shift from center a little bit. What we don't want is, as you push through, is that your shoulder starts to sag, you start to rotate, you lose your core engagement, okay? So as we do this, you want to stay nice and tight, switch over, keep that scap push up, controlled movement touch, all the way back down, Another thing is you don't want to rotate the hips too much or rotate your upper body too much. So you want to stay nice and square, lean over, shoulder tap, control, keep that scat push up. If you want in between, do a scat push up, touch, come back down. Okay, so that one can be challenging. Kind of what we mentioned with the scat push up. To make it a little bit easier, you could start on an elevated surface like a bench or a table to help build up your strength to be able to get parallel to the ground. Okay, the final exercise that we're going to go over for this video is a tall plank with alternating leg raises. So depending on the leg that you raise, it's going to engage your serratus anterior and your lower traps a little bit. So it's a good way to build more shoulder stability. So same thing as the last two exercises. Gonna get in that nice tall plank position, core engaged, pushing through your shoulder blades, engaging that serratus anterior. From there, core tight, you're gonna squeeze your glute, and then raise as high as you can without arching your back, okay? So you wanna raise up, squeeze the glute, push through the ground, not arching, not sagging as you do the exercises, okay? So stay engaged, squeeze the glutes, raise up, nice hold it for about 2-3 seconds. Alternate side, keep pushing, slow and controlled movements, try not to go quick because you really want to keep your core engaged the entire time, pushing through the ground, stay engaged, really work that movement, slow and controlled, work your way up. Kind of like the other ones, if that's too challenging, you can get on a little bit more of a vertical surface and then do the same leg raises and then work your way up.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those early on closed chain shoulder stability exercises. As I mentioned earlier in the video, we're going to get into more progressive exercises both in closed chain and open chain in this video series that we'll pump out over the next several weeks. In the meantime, make sure you're working hard on feeling the right muscles and doing the correct form with all these exercises. They might seem easy and you might honestly not feel they're that taxing, but if you do them correctly and with the proper form, you might feel that shoulder burn. You might feel the muscles that you need to be doing, that need to be firing to do these exercises correctly. So really focus in on doing it properly so that you can progress appropriately to the next ones. This is the foundation to building up into further shoulder strengthening exercises. If you learned something new or you really like this video, help us reach more hoopers by liking, subscribing, share with family and friends. We're the Basketball Doctors. Let's ball for life.